Levinson, Managing Partner with Levinson and Associates. With me today we have Joseph Loughran, our Marketing Vice President, and then we have two special guest speakers on today's presentation. The first one is the actual lead program creator. Stephen is going to join us in just a couple of minutes here. And then, of course, we have a very successful Levinson agent going on probably close to 10 years now, Ken, all the way from Texas. So he has been using the program since its pilot phase back, it's been a few years now when we first rolled it out. So he has the best experience with our lead program. So he is taking time out of his busy schedule to speak to our agents and kind of just give you his insight and pluses and minuses and how the program works. And I think he's going to share a story on a particular lead that he called on and how it turned out to be a nice case. So great stuff from Ken. And then, of course, Steve is going to talk a little bit about the program and what your expectations should be and what you can do to make the program successful. So that's obviously the real name of the game. Okay, so we're going to do things a little differently this time. We're going to start pretty quickly with our guest speakers, and then when they're done talking, we're going to get into a few new additions, new technology, some new tools that we have here at Levinson, and everything kind of works in conjunction with our lead program, or even if you're using various lead programs, which is completely fine with us. So, you know, whatever works for you, obviously we will stand behind you 100%. Okay, so this is the outline of our mortgage protection lead program, and I just wanted to talk about a few of these bullets before diving into the feature presentation. Just real quick, I think it's important that everybody understands that, you know, Levinson and Associates is an IMO since 1972 with over 65 carriers now that we represent. We have over 10,000 agents in almost every city in the country today, literally. Based on our last report, we're over 10,000. So very proud of that. Obviously, we're doing something right. We would never be in this position if it wasn't for you guys and girls, our agents that are out in the field. So special thank you. Also, I want you to understand the Mortgage Protection Lead Program is not a company that Levinson owns, okay? The program was created and owned by one of our top GAs. Literally, him and my father had a relationship before I even came into the business over 20 years ago. So he is not only an MGA with us, but also a family friend. And he, I'm trying to say this in a nice way, he slowed down a little bit and not quite retired, but slowed down a little bit and offered the program and made this available to our agents, which has been a dream come true that started a few years ago. And Ken was one of the first agents to roll this out for us in our pilot phase. So very, very excited. The whole point of me bringing this up, though, is so you understand we don't make any money off this program. We don't own the company. Okay, yes, we stand behind it, and yes, we're going to go out there and we're going to market the program because it helps our agents sell, which obviously helps us, which helps the carrier. So it all goes down the line. But we don't make a penny. In fact, it costs us a few bucks to have our agents participate every single order. So keep that in the back of your mind. It's important to know the way we make our money is when you write an application, and that application places and goes in force, we get our override from the carrier. So the program costs us money for you to participate. The only way we get a reimbursement is when you write production. So it's very important that you know all in any business that gets written from the program must come back through Levinson. Okay, very, very important. And we do run reports, so please just do the right thing, and you can use the program forever, and everybody will always be happy. Okay, so we did put out some fourth quarter sale pricing, which we rarely do, especially if you've been with us for a long time. You know that the prices are the prices. It already cost us money for you to participate, so you know that price that you can take advantage of is already a co-op a deal for you. So it's a great price all the way around. But just to kick this off even more, what we did, if you look at the right column, year-end pricing special in red, that is the special deal only until the end of the year. So take advantage now, especially if you've been on the fence. Minimum order is 12 leads. Okay, we place the orders every Monday before sundown or before the end of the business day. Lead cost is $18 per lead. That's for 12, and we give you 2 free. And then as you can see, that special fourth quarter pricing on the right side at 15 leads and 20 leads. You can save a few bucks there and get up to 4 free leads for every batch order. That is huge. I mean, we hear different lead costs anywhere from $20 for B leads all the way to $100 for A-type mortgage protection leads. So this is a great time to take advantage, especially with this new discount pricing. There's no minimum order requirement, so we don't keep running your credit card every week based on if you tell us to order or not. You simply opt in. If you don't, or we don't hear from you, you are done. Okay, it's that simple. We do not enter you in the program week after week. So as soon as you place the order on Mondays before sundown, you receive your batch within 24 hours. And again, last but not least, all business must be placed back through Levinson and Associates. Even if we don't have that specific carrier that maybe you have through another organization, just let us know. 9 out of 10 times we can beat that quote. Or if the company's that great, we'll be the first to bring them on and offer that carrier and product to our agents. Okay, so just kind of keep us in the loop, and we'll be able to do this forever for you guys. Okay, so our feature presentation, we're going to start off with the actual lead program developer and creator. He's also a good family friend of ours, and this is Stephen. And what we're going to do before we roll into his presentation, we tried to put down some questions that we're hearing from agents, you know, throughout the years that come up, or if there's a little confusion or frustration about the program. We've taken those questions and we put them on this slide and on the next slide to kind of have all of your questions answered, okay? And if anything else comes up, please let us know after the presentation. Call or email us, and we'll get all of your questions answered and make sure that you're fully comfortable with the program. Okay, so first off, talking to Steve here, the number one question that comes up is, how are the leads generated? Is it a direct mailing process through the internet? Maybe you can shed some light on that, Steve. Are you there?
Yes, Bill. Thanks so much, and I'd like to thank all the agents who are attending this afternoon. I just want to, before we get into the first question, just want to take a moment and just put something out there that I firmly and sincerely believe, which is that this lead program is for agents who are serious about the insurance business, firstly, and secondly, are serious about building their business in the insurance industry. This lead program is for people who want to make money, and they're for people who want to open new avenues for prospecting. Okay. By the way, the lead program, and I know that as Bill said, this is the agents for Levinson and Associates are spread all over the country. These leads are available in every state except for the state of Kansas. So if you're in a tiny little state, a remote state, thinking, well, there's probably no lead, there are leads. So let me just begin with that. These leads are generated very simply by a process where anybody that takes out a mortgage loan, and that could be a first mortgage, a second mortgage, could be an equity loan of some type on their property. This is a public information, and it's recorded in the respective county clerk's office where the homeowner resides. And so it's then available for collecting and putting together. So that's how these leads are gathered. They're actually scooped up on a daily basis from, as I say, throughout the country, and it's based on these types of loans. The process that people are contacted is that it is through direct mail. They get usually probably within about a week or 10 days after they closed on that loan, they get a letter explaining a little bit about the what this mortgage protection plan is, and mentioning that if they'd like to get additional information, please fill out the questionnaire on the bottom and mail it in. And this is important because the people that really aren't interested or don't have time to even take a moment to fill it out do not fill it out. So we as the receiver of this will never see these leads unless it is filled out and mailed back. There is, on each and every case that is mailed back, is some level of interest. And I'm not saying that these are all people that are ready to buy, but they certainly have some interest in at least receiving information as to A, what mortgage protection is, and B, of course, what the cost is. So you're calling upon people who have physically taken the time to send these requests in, and are receptive to being contacted by you. So that eliminates any problem with cold calling or outdated leads or that kind of nonsense.
Okay, and Stephen, one last thing here before we move forward. This comes up all the time, so maybe you can just give some generic ballpark figures when the agents call and say, well, what parameters are there for the leads when it comes to ages, home value or loan amounts, etc.? Is it generally within certain guidelines?
Okay, and that's certainly a good question. As far as ages of the people, I won't say that nobody's too young. I mean, we sort of shy away from a situation, and it's very rare that they're under 25. But more importantly, it's the older ages. We will cut it off certainly if someone is mid-70s or above. And I can tell you for a fact that there's almost universally lead programs will go up to probably age 85. The reason we do, we take it upon ourselves is that we have found from our experience, and again, our experience is long and vast when it comes to the mortgage lead program. We have found in the past that people say 80 years old or 80 plus years old, the premiums are just too prohibitive. And of course, there's also way too many health issues involved usually. As far as the home value, we look for at least 100,000 plus on a mortgage amount. Now, you have to keep in mind something. Nobody can look into the profile of these people and say, well, they have a mortgage of $80,000. That's not to say perhaps that the sale of the house was quite a bit more. But we figure if we start off at least with a six-figure mortgage and they put a sizable amount of money down, we're looking for people that can afford to buy insurance, obviously. The ability to pay, which is one of the basics in our business. So we try to, as I say, keep the home values at least 100,000 plus. And again, there's no such cutoff or minimum that's been established by any other lead program that I'm aware of.
Okay, and the 100,000 is the mortgage amount, not the value.
The mortgage amount. Yeah,
right,
well,
right.
See, yeah, and the value of the home will never be shown in public records. The only thing that's recorded is the actual loan amount.
Yep, exactly. Okay, so yeah, so keep in mind that could be a $500,000 house, and so you never know the whole story really until you make the call.
A better example would be an equity loan. And you see a couple who are 50 plus years old, let's say, and they have, and you see it, let's say through a credit union, and you see a mortgage of $35,000, or a loan, I should say, of $35,000. I'll bet you dollars to donuts, as the saying goes, that is an equity loan. They may have a $400,000 house,
Right.
but they're only borrowing, be it an equity loan or a line of credit of $35,000, maybe to redo the kitchen. So, you know, these are things that you come up with. But, you know, our first point of attack as far as the value of the home would be to at least look at a six-figure loan amount.
Right, right, exactly. And the point is, you have a young prospect that, let's say, is in their early 30s or late 30s, whatever the case is. That doesn't necessarily mean the premium is only going to be, you know, $15 a month. You know, that could turn into a monster case. Maybe they need a critical illness or disability policy or even an annuity. So, you know, Ken will also share that he's had some clients that have turned out to be $10, $20, $30,000 of commission type deals. So, you know, the business is there. You just have to make the call and uncover and then see where it goes. And then on the other side of it, you know, some of these older prospects that are, let's say, in their, you know, late 60s or early 70s, which usually won't even come up, but those are going to be the nicer cases. So just, you know, there's always going to be a place to go. It's up to you to make the call, dive in, and then uncover. Okay, let's move forward because I know Kent has a few appointments after we're done. So let's keep going here. In regards to proximity, what can our agents expect as far as the distance from their leads? Now, obviously,
Okay.
Yeah. Let me just make one comment.
Yeah, sure.
Obviously, you're always going to get you the state that you're licensed in or that you request. So that's a no-brainer. But it's important, and I'll let Steve talk a little more, but it's important to know, of course, you know, we're going to do the best we can to fulfill your area, but everyone, especially these days, you need to know how to sell over the phone, especially with our e-application and drop ticket system and with our new mobile app coming out that'll be available on your iPhones or smartphones. There's no reason to not, because you got to remember, some of the prime hot locations, there's going to be a lot of agents that are requesting those same areas. So sometimes it's better even to go outside. But I'll let Steve talk a little more about that. Steve?
Bill, did you hit a lot of good points. And this is a question that comes up a lot. And I'm going to pose a question to the question. You know, we take certain liberties, and the liberties are always based on you know, at the very forefront of things, what's best for that ordering agent who's ordering the leads. And we put our feet in your shoes, Mr. Agent, and we say this. Let's say you're requesting a particular county, and that's how the lead orders come in, is, you know, various counties that you'd be interested in getting leads from. And you take a particular county, and you have a lead, which is a lead, a mortgage amount of, let's say, $68,000. And you have another lead in that state, but certainly not in that county, 300 miles perhaps away, that's $268,000. I believe, and I've proved it to myself more than a few times over the years, that $268,000 will lead you to a better sale, all things being equal. Now, that being said, we will always try to fill what the request is, but I won't sacrifice quality for geography. I just don't believe that's the way to go. You know, we're all in this for one particular reason, to make some money. And again, if I see a quality lead, I don't care where it is in the agent's state. It will be in a state that built this. But I don't really care what county it's in, because I know it appears, and that's all you can go by, it appears to be a quality lead based on ages and amounts of mortgage. And that will be my first line of attack. As Bill mentioned, anyone that enters into this lead program has to be comfortable and able to deal with e-apps and that kind of thing. because the chances are, and I say this universally throughout the country, with a few exceptions, that you probably will have your lead order scattered throughout your state. Maybe you'll have a few in those counties that you ordered. I prefer agents to just say anywhere in Tennessee, anywhere in Illinois, anywhere in XYZ states, and believe me, we will pick out the best 20, 15, dozen, whatever it is, order from the agent and bring it to you. And then, of course, you go from there. And I do want to add one quick thing that Bill touched upon. I know Kent is going to do more on that. Is the importance of how you work the telephone conversation. That's where the whole start begins. That's where the whole sale is originated. And that's where you can make what looks like a regular type, amount on a mortgage into something that's really, really, really prosperous. And it's by asking questions and by probing and getting as much of a picture, of a full picture from the prospects that you're calling. That's the whole deal with this. Okay.
Yep. No, that's fine. We just have one more bullet here, but that was perfect. I think we answered the question. The last one, and this just came up this morning. I haven't heard about this for probably a year plus, but it came up this morning, so I wanted to answer this question, and the agent is actually on the call with us right now. So the last bullet is, will the loan amounts be displayed on all leads? So maybe you can just give us a little insight on how that works, Steve, and then we're going to move forward to our next presenter.
Sure. In some states, and there's just a few, Illinois comes to mind, the mortgage amount is not recorded. In most every state, mortgage amounts are recorded, and I would say for those states that do have mortgages recorded, I would say at least 2/3 or more the mortgage amount will appear. It's a simple piece of information to get from the prospect when you call them if it doesn't appear on the lead. But again, we're using that as one of our criteria, so certainly the majority of leads will have the mortgage amount and appears on the lead furnished to the agent.
Okay, well, I think that answers our question. Okay, all right, I hate to do this, but we're going to move forward just because Kent has a busy day and I don't want to take up any more of his time. So, Stephen, thank you very much. We appreciate your time, and I know we're going to see a big push towards the end of the year here, especially with this new pricing, which is going to go back to normal, by the way, January 1. So just keep that in the back of your mind. Okay, thank you, Stephen.
Thank you, Bill. Thank you.
Yep, next. Yep, we appreciate you. Thank you. Next up is Ken, all the way from Texas. And I'll just say quickly, he's always been there for us, and he truly, out of the goodness of his heart, is taking time out of his busy afternoon to speak to our agents and give you some insight with the program. And this is all 100% factual advice, good or bad, okay, that comes from his hands-on experience. And he is just like you guys out there in the field trying to make a good living in this business, which sometimes could be a little challenging, as we know. So special thank you to Ken, and we'll just start off with the first bullet is, what are some tips and suggestions for setting up the initial dialogue with your prospects? And then any stories, or maybe you can give us a sample of maybe one of your leads that came in that you turned into a nice sale. I think we're getting a little background noise there.
Hold on just a minute. Can you hear me?
Okay. Yep, no problem.
I'm sorry, I'm in a car driving, so I apologize.
Yep, it's okay.
I'm off to some meetings.
It's okay, no problem.
Yeah, I appreciate you, Bill, and Joe, and Steve, and everybody being on the call. I want to make a couple of comments, and I'll jump into, I hope, answering what you asked. But one thing I'd like to say is that 98% of my business is not in my county. I'm in Dallas County in Texas. but most of my sales are either in Harris County, which is Houston, or in El Paso, or San Antonio. Listen, folks, you don't have to go see your people to make the sales. Just note that it's a business of technology in a modern day time when you can do most of your business over the phone. So just be aware of that. And second is when you're on the phone discovering and you're talking to your people regarding the mortgage lead. Steve and Bill made some really good points with regards to don't just get discouraged if you don't have a mortgage balance that shows $1 million or $500,000. You're looking to have the conversation of, a $35,000 balance means that somebody remodeled their kitchen on $1 million home. So you're talking to somebody that has a cash flow or maybe an income of $500,000 and can afford a very high premium. So just a note to everybody out there. I hope I answered the question that you asked. I didn't hear it because I was...
Yeah, no, that's okay. Ken, do you have, can you give us, let's just jump around a little bit. Do you have maybe a good story you can share with us on maybe a recent call that turned out to be a hell of a sale?
I'll give you two. There was a call, and maybe some of you have heard about this call. I actually landed in Tampa, Florida, and was coming out to the Spring Expo for Levinson, and I had made several calls, several attempts on this particular person, and we had gone back and forth, and actually I got a hold of that person the day before I jumped on the plane, and the conversation did not go well at all. Matter of fact, she became kind of irritated at me because I can be quite curt, or I guess aggressive and persistent, and I get right to business. And I learned many years ago that not everybody is going to adapt to my personality. I have to adapt to theirs. So if you're taking notes, just know that it's our job to adapt to others. So bottom line is I called her back and I reached her on a good day, and we basically started talking, and I knew how to give her comfort in the conversation, if you will, and not go down the same path I went. And I warmed her up, and by the time that the seminar had finished, the Spring Expo had finished, that next day I had turned in the application signed to Joe and Bill, and it ended up being a $30,000 annualized premium. I get paid, I think, I don't know how much a month, but it comes out to a little over $30,000. So just note that no doesn't mean no, it means not now. Everybody must continue to be persistent in your sales. Second thought that comes to mind is there's a guy by the name of Danny that lives out in a city out north of my hometown in Texas, and these mortgage leads, you never know. You can get somebody you can drive to, and this one happened to be in a town called Salina, Texas, and I live just south of Salina. And I've been calling since 2014, is my point. And the conversation always is with regards to his busyness and his inability to do the business now because he's got so much on his plate. And listen, this guy makes a lot of money. He has a big home. So anytime you're on the phone with a type A personality, you have to adapt to that personality. And I hit him head on, though. I don't let him push me around, but I also have to give him lots of room. In other words, I've given him 2 years of room. And I don't suggest you give anybody 2 years that's, that's a $20 a month premium. But when you know it's going to be a nice premium, you've got to be a lot more merciful. The bigger ones take a lot more to get in, is my point. So basically, this one is going to equate, or is equating to about a $12,000 premium, and it's well worth the wait. So bottom line is 2 years ago, it would have been about, I guess, a $9,000 or $10,000 premium. But because we waited 2 years, one way to look at these prospects is if you wait, they're 2 years older, and they may have a medical issue, and you're going to make more money. So there's a positive way to look at all of these. I will touch on the initial dialogue with regards to how I address people on the phone. I basically go into a conversation. I say, I have received your questionnaire regarding mortgage protection from your recent purchase or refinance of your home, and I want to, just review what you sent me and confirm all of your information. So I just confirm everything that's on that, from their date of birth, height, weight, are they tobacco users, health issues, medicines they take, and then I talk about their mortgage balance, and then I'll get into what I said earlier is what their mortgage balance is about. Is that the approximate value of their home, or is that a refinance? Just start asking questions, and once you start asking questions, you'll know where to go with the conversation. You cannot know where to go with the conversation unless you ask questions, because if you get on a call and you're just another agent, if you just start asking if they want to buy mortgage protection insurance and you give them a price, and you can put the end on it because it's the end of your conversation. You have to be creative and create a dialogue so that they can trust that you know what you're talking about and that you're an expert. So you want to ask some questions like, who's the primary breadwinner in the home? You want to talk about, I know you're talking about paying off the mortgage, but what about survival for your family after you pay off the mortgage? What about college for your children? About living expenses? So I would encourage everybody to think out of the box. Don't be me too strategy. That's the differentiator in you and the other agents, is how you adapt to the conversation and you don't come off as a very vanilla type agent. You have to be somebody different that they remember, because there are other agents calling, whether you want to hear that or not. There are, but you have to differentiate yourself from the rest.
Yeah,
I hope that helps. I hope everybody has a good day.
Yep, that's a great point. And I know the reception is not great, but I know Ken had some great points here and good stories. Ken, are you still there?
I am here, yes. Yes.
Okay, just the last bullet here, and we're jumping around just in the essence of time, but how this question comes up every other day is from various agents. How do you spin this as mortgage protection? Because I know one of the first things a prospect will say is, well, how does this protect my house if something happens? Is this from the bank, or how do you spin it around?
Sure. I apologize if it's bad reception, but
no, it's okay.
I basically talk about, they're going to ask you sometime in the conversation, a lot of times, is this life insurance? And your response is going to be, this is life insurance postured in or styled in the form of mortgage protection insurance. So you're just going to start off on the path of mortgage protection insurance is just a different way to write life insurance, and you're going to just explain that it protects the value of your home and even more, and you are allowed to write above and beyond the value of the mortgage. So don't let that scare you off. Always, jump into conversations. And then start, anytime you get side railed in the conversation, start asking your client questions.
Yes, exactly. Uncover, build the relationship. That's the name of the game. Thank you, Ken. It's all about just building the relationship and trying to uncover. All right, I don't want to take any more of your time, Ken. I know you're busy. What we'll do, Kent will also be down at our March 31st Expo. So you will get a chance even to meet him in person. Come see me. I'll make the introduction, and you can shake hands, and I'm sure he'd be more than happy to share some other tips about the program and why and how it's working for him. All right, so special thank you to Kent and Stephen. We appreciate your time. Let's move forward here. We're going to talk about how these leads can literally be free for you. We'll show you some sample leads and some new technology. So without further ado, we'll introduce Joseph Loughran, and he'll jump right in and talk about the lead reimbursement program. Joe?
Yeah, thanks, Bill. So real quickly here, the lead reimbursement program, we've actually had up and running since we started the program. The way it works is once you order a batch of leads, obviously you're going to be reaching out to those clients, making initial contact. There's actually a reimbursement form you can fill out once you write an actual application as a result of the lead program. So you'll send that in with that application. And then once that policy goes in force, we actually reimburse you for the lead cost of each place policy. So let's say right away you get a client, you send in the application with that reimbursement form, that policy goes paid, we send you the $18 for that lead. So we have a couple agents, actually just this week, where we sent out reimbursement checks in excess of, I think, $160+. So it's very, very common for us to send out a lot of these reimbursement forms. Just another way for us to kind of help, like Bill said, recoup that lead cost on an already program that's been co-opted and reduced from what a normal mortgage lead would cost. Up next here, I want to dive into what an actual sample lead looks like. So this is what you're going to be receiving for every single one of the mortgage leads. Again, not all of them are going to have the mortgage amount listed. This one does, $245,000. It's going to have the county, the address, including the zip code, city, and state. Then you'll see on most leads there's a borrower and a co-borrower. It's usually a husband, wife, or spouse scenario. It's going to have their name, date of birth, their height, smoking status, and then contact phone numbers. And I would say on probably 60 to 75% of every single one of these leads, there's actually both a home phone number or multiple cell phone numbers. So it's a very, very easy way for you to get in touch with the clients. Email addresses are not listed on here, but I highly recommend gathering that email address once you talk to that client. You can actually, in a couple slides, we'll be talking about the Agency Automator tool. That email address is very, very important to make sure you stay on top of that client and set automated follow-ups, even birthday reminders, policy anniversaries, so we'll dive into that. One thing I do want to mention before going to the next slide here, we do have a great piece, the Mortgage Lead Program Frequently Asked Questions sheet. We'll be emailing that out this afternoon with a recording of the webinar. We also have some sample scripts depending on the scenario, so those will be included in that email as well. Those are PDFs, so you can literally just open that email that you received this afternoon and actually review those two items. Highly recommend, if you haven't used that Mortgage Lead Program in the past, going through those and just learning about some of the frequently asked questions that come up when agents run into different scenarios using this program.
Okay, thank you, Joe. Okay, so what's new at Levinson? We have just a few more slides here, and then we're going to end the call, and we will, like always, send out an email to all participants that are on the call just to keep you in the loop. If you want to read up on some of the brochures over the weekend or a little later, no problem. So obviously, we were featured, as you can see on the left side, in Insurance Newsnet magazine as the cover story. Me and Carrie on the cover there. Carrie's my father, as you know. And we couldn't be any happier about this, and we truly want to thank our agents, because we would never be in this position if it wasn't for you guys having faith in us and standing behind us when we know there's tons of competitors. I mean, there's 3 or 4 agencies in our city. So we appreciate that, and today we are one of the top 10 marketing organizations in the country for life and annuities. So we couldn't be any more proud of what we have accomplished, and we know we couldn't have done it without you guys and girls, our agents across the country. On the right side, November, and this month we were the first page in the annual Tech Guide edition. As you can see, the article is there. It talks all about the brand new Agency Automator, which is now up and running. So if you have not signed up, do it today, okay? This is an opportunity for you to have one-stop shopping for all of your existing clients, all of your new prospects, and get 1,000 new prospects to market to every month that ultimately are going to add to your database, so you can make sure that you're dripping on all of your clients and prospects once a month, keeping your name fresh on the top of their minds. Very important. We have a 2-minute video that we'll include in today's email that talks all about the Agency Automator. But if you are in this business, okay, if you're 17 or 84, you need to be using the Agency Automator, and it's free as long as you're active with us and writing at least an app per month. And even if you're brand new, you haven't written anything, it's a co-op price of $25 a month. We pay for the activation, and that includes 1,000 new prospects every single month for you to market to. So I don't know of anything else that works like this, especially at this co-op or even free kind of pricing. So that's a quick screenshot that we kind of want to move forward here, but what we'll do, Joe, is let's include the video in everybody's email today. That's a screenshot of the actual dashboard itself, but I know we're running a little short on time. Joe's going to talk about our exclusive scholarship program. And the reason why I wanted Joe to bring this up is because when you're calling all of these new leads and your prospects, especially if you're using Agency Automator, you know, yes, it's great to talk about the least expensive life insurance and living benefit riders, you know, the new kind of life insurance or indexed UL that builds cash for retirement. Yes, all of that's great. But what is really going to set you apart, and that's the scholarship program, because your competitors don't have access to this unless they're going through us. So 9 out of 10 times, you're going to be able to market a scholarship program for their children or grandchildren or future children that your competitors will not be able to talk about. Joe will touch on this briefly, and then we're going to move forward. Joe?
Yeah, thanks, Bill. So really quickly here, the scholarship program, this is the country's largest scholarship planning program. Just a couple stats I want to go over that really show you the size of this program, where it's grown. There's 369 member colleges, and if you look at the amount of tuition rewards, so discounts that consumers and students are able to access, so far, basically since the program's inception, there's just over $62 million in tuitions. So that's a very, very large number. There's over 415,000 students enrolled. It's just a great way to get your foot not only in the door, but also to generate additional referrals. We make it very, very easy. Right on CarrieLevinson.com, underneath the Agent Tools tab, there is a section devoted just to the scholarship platform. You can actually pull email marketing tools. You can actually take advantage of the agent retail website. There's even direct mail pieces, and we have a great program called Professor 101 Training, which actually guides you through the entire process, start to finish. They're even designed for your clients to review and help educate them on the scholarship program. So just a great way to kind of, again, differentiate yourself from the competition. Again, you can access all those resources right on our website.
Okay, thank you, Joe. All right, briefly, our brand new level lightning issue term product is finally available. So we have about 40 states already approved. We're going to have a few more, I would say, by mid to late next week, and you will literally be able to park this on your website or send out an email blast or put on your social media, start driving traffic and selling products. 100% client-driven, now up to $150,000. Your client can choose from the decreasing mortgage type product or the level option up to $150,000. I'll say it again. It used to be up to $100,000. We've increased that up to age 64. The level product is a 20-year level guaranteed plan, and it is now renewable, and convertible. That's huge. 100% client-driven. The only product in the marketplace today that is 100% client-driven. And just keep in mind, you get your custom link, your client goes in, they run a quote, they get the mortgage protection decreasing option, or they opt for the level option. It gives them both options. They check a box, application pops up, 3 health questions, done. It's that simple. And we incorporated the scholarship program into Lightning Term as well. So make sure you're signed up. There's also a 5% increase in your commission schedule for the mortgage protection term Lightning product. So if you're actually, Joe, we're going to send out an email. We'll include that in there, and we'll have an opt-in form. So you'll just keep your eyes peeled for that. Put your name, phone number, email, and then we'll make sure to raise your commissions. Okay, upcoming agent training events, Joe will touch on, and then we have one last slide, and we are done. Joe?
Yeah, thanks, Bill. So real quick, next week, obviously being a short week with the holiday, we do have a webinar on Tuesday, which is the 22nd at 11 a.m. We're actually going over Fidelity Life's e-application training. And then Wednesday, which is the 23rd at 3:30 p.m., every single week we have an ongoing training event for the Agency Automator platform. In fact, we have one this afternoon at 3:30. So if you're interested in using that platform that Bill mentioned, definitely jump on that webinar. Runs about 35-40 minutes. We actually cover a couple topics and then take questions. So any questions you have on the Automator platform, you'll be able to get those answered right from the software developer.
Okay, thanks, Joe. Okay, just about finished up here. The Agent Expo that I just mentioned that Kent will be down at, we'll definitely introduce you to him. A very, very important day for us, March 31st, 2017. Write that down. You don't want to miss it. I don't care if you're local to us or you're coming all the way from California. This is a day you don't want to miss. Complimentary for all of our Levinson agents. We bring in, for the out-of-towners, a big dinner the night before. We have breakfast that day, lunch that day. We have a Tony Robbins keynote speaker. All of our top carriers from around the country. They'll send our underwriting VPs and marketing VPs. It is a day full of sales ideas that you will not forget. It's only getting bigger and better. We'll have over 200 agents and GAs in attendance for 2017. Definitely a day you will not forget, and I promise you, you will walk away with some sales ideas that you can use as soon as that evening to make some new sales, okay? And starting at just $15,000 of paid premium, you can qualify for up to 2 free nights in our beachfront location and round-trip airfare from anywhere in the country, okay? So you can even turn this into a weekend family vacation on us. Obviously, you have to write the premium, but if you're there, then we take care of everything for you. And even if you're brand new, you haven't written anything, we pay for the entire day, all meals included. And again, a day you will not forget, I promise you. Okay, our last slide here, and just so everyone is aware, we're hearing all of this stuff about DOL and what changes will it have, especially with the annuity side. And I'm actually flying out to Dallas tomorrow morning to the annual NALBA conference, which is the biggest industry meeting in the country. Once a year, they hold this in either Dallas, Arizona, or South Florida. So I'm going to find out about the DOL, latest changes, updates, what we as an IMO, or our agents, need to do to prepare. As of right now, nothing is set in stone. Nothing has changed yet. But I will definitely have a webinar on that and keep everyone posted on what changes are to come next year or even in 2018. Okay, so I'm going to end with this. It's so important, and everyone knows I'm into Tony Robbins and all the motivational stuff. I think it's so important to live every day and make sure you live to the fullest. And when you're making those calls, those sales calls to these prospects, hang up the phone and say to yourself, did you do the best that I possibly can do? Do that every single time, okay? This way you don't start falling behind. And if it's Tony Robbins or any kind of motivational book or maybe church or temple, whatever keeps you in the right state of mind, make sure to follow that path and keep that motivation on top of your mind day in and day out so you could do the best you can, because I believe we all have it in us. And I'll end with this. If you do what you've always done, you'll get what you've always gotten. So take the first step. Try some new stuff here, new technology, new lead programs. Get yourself out there. It may not work for everyone, but if it's going to work for you, this could change your life, literally. So take the first step, put your right foot forward, make it happen. Have a great rest of the week, a great weekend, and good selling. Take care.